MK1 golf build. We've had a little bit of progress. Put the steering wheel on, just so we could spin the car around in the garage. The car is now faced head in, as you can see. So this should hopefully help us do a lot of the fabrication work. What you may also notice is the engine's in. So this is a 9A from a VW Corrado, and we're going to mount the throttle bodies on here, which I showed you in the intro video. Today we're going to get hopefully all the wiring done for the ECU. Not sure on how to do this, but we're going to go with the flow and find out. Got the Epitech mounts and stuff in. They're looking well, really well. Nothing's tightened up fully yet. We'll do that when we come to do the exhaust downpipe and exhaust system, just so everything's in the right place, but that actually worked out pretty good. So the plan today, remove everything that we don't need, like the knock sensor and stuff. Knock sensor, get all this wiring away as well for the starter motor, because we'll run all brand new stuff. I think this is starter to alternator, which you can see someone's been at before, so we're going to tidy up all this. Hopefully this alternator is pretty good. It looks pretty new, and it's a Velo one. Don't know why the hell that's not focusing. I've also got a new camera, new mic, so hopefully the quality is a bit better as well. But yeah, today plan is get on with the wiring. Just got to work out what's what. Loads of switches here. So I think this one's for the VDO gauge, which is in the centre console, which we'll be running. And these two must be oil temp and possibly oil pressure, which we'll also run. This isn't going to be a fast car as such. I think they come with, I'm not too sure, I'll be blagging it, maybe 120, 130 horsepower. But we're putting it on the throttle bodies, and that should make it hopefully a wee bit more livelier, and obviously sound a lot better as well. But yeah, we've cleaned up everything, as you can see. We've done that with a steam cleaner. I steam clean everything to death. Other stuff that we're going to use, this white one, that's the coolant temp sensor. Use that for reference for the ECU, and then that wee one just up the back here, we're going to use that for the gauge inside the car, and possibly the VDO gauge as well if it does have one. Distributor, we'll be losing that. I'm going to take that off later on, see what's behind it, see if we can just make a blank for it instead of buy one. Because we won't need that anymore, because we're going electronic ignition, which is what this is. So if we follow that down, it goes all the way down into the back of the gearbox. You see the cable disappearing, and that is for the crank pickup sensor. So the crank pickup sensor that we used was a full rear main seal, and that's from a VW Polo GTI, I think it was. I think it's a 1.6/16 valve, and the pickup sensor was also to suit that sensor, the ring. So hopefully that works. We have had it quickly linked up to the ECU, and we do get RPM, so that's a promising thing. But today I'm going to mount the ECU, which is a tiny wee thing. Like you see that in the box of goodies. So this is it here. Plugs go in there, not IP rated. That's your map sensor, which we're going to run on this because that's how we're going to advance the timing. But this is a speeduino, if I'm saying it right. Speeduino Mini, but this is packed with features for the money. It's an ideal setup for this. All it's going to do is control the ignition. So input pulses from the crank sensor I'll go to this box and then we link that up to a coil pack, which we also have in here. Which is from a Peugeot, I want to say 206, and I bought the plug-in stuff on eBay as well. So that should go together pretty well. But yeah, the plan is today, get this mounted. Hopefully, I was thinking maybe there. But then again, that does sit pretty shit. Maybe there. There's going to be nothing up at the back. And I want the wiring loom to run as neat as possible from there. So I'll have a wee think about it. Might even mount it in there. I know there's loads of rubbish in there just now, but yeah, we could just mount it right there. Don't know how good that would be for the weather. Possibly. We'll have a think about it and we'll come back. Apologies for the noise in the background. The heater's kicked in because it's snowing outside. Now April, and it decides to snow. Beautiful. Right, so I think what the plan is, I'm going to mount this roughly here. Just like that. So mount it there. I've already drawn a mark there. Plan is I'm going to drill that end first, put a riv nut in there, drill this out to an M6, put a nice M6 stainless in there, and then tighten this one up and see where we go from there. Right, so drill's there. Just going to drill a wee pilot hole in first. So pilot holes in. I'm going to get the riv nuts, which are inside the car. I've actually got two up here that I was going to fit the other day on something else. So what we're using is these riv nuts, and there's a tool for these. There we go. So that's a tool you just put on the end of the drill. So you put that bit right there on the end of the drill, and that presses that into there. So what we'll start by doing, it's quite hard to do this one-handed. Mount the riv nut on, just like that. Find a suitable drill bit for the right size. And let's get this bad boy in. So I've drilled the hole to 8.5mm. It's a hole right there. Now I'm going to use the gun with the riv nut on the end. And you hold the handle of the gun and give it a wee tighten up. And you feel resistance stop. And I believe you just back it up. Jesus Christ, that actually works. Right, test it with a 6mm. Make sure we've not knackered the threads. Yeah, beautiful. Superb. Let's get the other one done. Right, so I've got the level on this. Where's my microphone, eh? Right, so I've got the level on this. And as you can see, no you can't, yep, it's showing 16mm across the wiper scuttle, which is fairly decent there. I've checked it at the back, on the boot lid, it's roughly about the same. So what we can do with this is press the reference button, that goes to 0. That's it now set to 0, 1mm. So yeah, car's rocking obviously with me being on it. 16, 0. So as long as we get within that, we'll be laughing. So I'm going to put you back down hopefully. And we're going to set the target again, which is there. The camera's now following that. I don't think we'll be far off, to be honest with you, but so I'm going to hold that underneath there, push that back to the bulkhead. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Then after that, what I'm going to do is just hold it exactly there, drop that down and out of the way. I'm going to just mark a tiny wee mark right in the middle of that. Yep, we're looking good. Right, take this off. I know it's a bit off and on, just to mount an ECU, but we want it looking good once it's done. Just going to double check that, all beautifully lined up. Going to the mark, the small one beside there. Let's get a small drill bit, which I did have. Right. Pilot bit. Right there. Beautiful. Just going to check inside the car, make sure it never went through anything. Yeah, we're good, we're absolutely spot on. We could have drilled and tapped the car, but it's not really going to give you a solid fix, and that's why I use the riv nuts. Right, 8.5mm bit. Load me up, buttercup. Size is at 4.5, put that back. Right, 8.5mm. So we're actually going through 2 skins there. Probably a reinforcement bracket that was on the back. We'll have a wee look. And what I normally do now is get your riv nut and just check it in. Just now it's going to be too snug. It's probably about an 8.7 or something you're meant to use, but so once again get that on the drill, the reamer bit, and just give it a wee tickle. Leaving the funny tight. And you want that to fit in there pretty snug, but not overly. So just a wee bit at a time until it goes in, just about there. I'm pretty happy with that. That should work for us. It's because it's going through that double skin as well. Right, let's get the tool on it. And the drill on the tool. And the tool on the drill. Let's see if this will actually go in. Remember, this time it's like the second time that I've used this wee tool, so I've just got to make sure that I don't go overboard this time. Try that. Still moving, but I'm just going to give it a tiny bit more. Right, we can get the ECU mounted. So what I'm using is stainless steel hardware. So stainless steel screws, which I will put in with a bit of Loctite. These are stainless steel rivets as well, so no chance of rusting. Just hope all this lines up now. Just snug it down ever so slightly, should hold it. Let's get this one in. Beautiful. A little bit of tension in it. Same with that one, not too much. And that. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know why it keeps on locking on that. That is mounted pretty nice. So you can see there, the riv nut, and the riv nut. And it's sitting nice and square to the top. Let's get the wiring done. So what I like to do is run the wiring into the bottom of the ECU, as you can see. After that, I've marked up all the ends of the wiring, as you can see. Taco, spare outputs, etc. And this side is all your TPS, throttle position sensor and stuff like that. So what I'll do is I'll now group them to what's going in the car and what's going to be in the bay. Because obviously you've got to have switched live from your ignition, grounds, which I'm going to put a nice ground point up there on the bulkhead. That'll be fed from the battery all the way. You've also got other grounds, which is for obviously your sensor. So sensors like that for your coolant temp sensor. One pin is your signal, which is resistance, basically it works off, and the other one is sensor ground. So what I'll do is I'll group all the wires to what's going in the bay and what's going inside, and then we'll make a start on the actual wiring. Got everything installed into sort of subgroups. This is for the hall sensor, throttle position sensor, coolant temp, intake air temps, and the bank on the right is the ones that are going inside the car. Two white ones are for the coil pack, which I think will mount a plate up here, just where the old distributor used to be. We'll mount a plate up here, and we will put a plate with a couple of studs coming out, and that's where the coil pack will hopefully mount and look good. This just a wee view halfway through it. So we've got the braiding on, the heat shrink, that's to the crank position sensor. It all runs up and over the gearbox. Just terminating some ends just now. That's going to be for the coolant temp sensor. Focus is terrible. So that will go up here. This one here is for the intake air temp. These two are for the coil pack, A and B, basically cylinders 1, 3 and 4 and 2, and all that other malarkey is going inside the car. So the wiring is coming along. We've got all the wires in the bottom of the ECU. Comes around into a connector for the crankshaft sensor. Around the back of the box. Comes up. Coolant temp sensor, all marked, all labelled. And these two along the front. One is for the intake air temp, which will probably go underneath the throttle bodies at the front here. Just need to watch your angles. They're semi-downdrafts, and I can already see that the angle for the alternator is going to be possibly a bit of an issue, but we'll work around that. We're going to have to also make a coolant flange that comes out the middle, which is just here. Coolant flange comes out there. So we're going to have to make something up for that. I know that you can buy them, but where's the fun in buying it? I say that, but if it's that much a pain in the arse, it's getting bought. So yep, that's where we're at just now. I have made a blanking plate, which is pretty crude. So that's it there. That is pretty rough and rugged just now. That's made out of probably, I don't know, 8mm alloy. And the reason that I left it with the return on the bottom is I'm going to put a plate on it, which I'm going to cut just now. So the plate is going to sit there. So the idea was that this bit underneath, when I weld it here and weld it underneath, that's going to give it the strength to hold the actual weight of the coil pack, because I don't want it falling away, you know, with the weight on the coil pack. So the thought was that that's basically giving it some support. But right, I'm going to get this cut and we'll be back in. Hopefully get Lisa out to give us a hand, hold it in the right place, and we'll get this welded on. On we're welding the distributor blanking coil pack bracket. Once again, acetone. Make sure everything is super clean all the way around. It's done. Just going to give this bit here a light clean up at the bottom, because we're going to be welding along that area as well. Just with the wire brush. Quite white down again, just because we've had it in contact with the brush, in case it's got any contaminants on it. Get rid of the cloth before it catches fire. Before we get rid of the cloth, wipe down the welding rod. PPE. Clamp this plate to the bit of metal. it's going to hold. Just till we get a weld on it, a tack weld. Obviously we want to make sure that a bit of metal's flat as well. Just like that. We've set the welder to around 180 amps. It's heavy. The welder's not heavy. Yeah, it was. Right, before we weld, just going to give it a small preheat. Camera, but you can actually see all the water leaking out. Just get rid of any of that moisture that's in there. Game on, garçon. Right, so we're earthed, we're on AC. Don't know how the camera's going to catch this. I might ask Lisa to hold the camera. Right, let's try and get a bit of weld on this. We're both hooded up. Helmet's on. Not sure how this is going to pan out, but let's go for it. Rubbish in the weld, but all good. Right, just going to come along it now. Well, she's welded. And it's hot. Just zoom in a wee bit and let you see this. It's not bad for a couple of hillbillies. Smell how hot it is. Yeah. I'm going to try use the leather bit. Woo! It's hot. Don't touch that, you can smell the leather burning now. Yep. What's the best thing to do? Let that cool down or hit it while it's hot? Lots of welders and stuff will be shouting in the comments. That's how hot it is. Burns a hole right through your glove. We'll try to hold it. So I think I'll let that cool down for a wee second. In that time I'll get another bit of filler rod at the ready. Alloy eats through filler rod. That we wipe off camera. It's not the cleanest metal to weld, but I think that's just me because I complain about that every time. I'm honestly not sure the best way to weld this. I think I'm going to clamp it up and then get comfortable. Like that, and I can come along like that. We'll wait for this to cool down a couple of minutes and then we'll come back in and get that side blasted. Right, I'm going to give this a wee shot on this side, see how it goes. we don't really need much on it, to be honest with you. 3 tacks would do us. But I get a wee bit carried away with welding. Right, first bit done. I'll give it a wee clean up and I'll go over the top of it. It's a bit better, that one. Bit less shit coming out. I'm actually cutting the circulation off to my finger. So yeah, when I went to pick up that bit of metal, I melted the finger on the glove, so now it's like a pointed witch finger. So now it's like a pointed witch finger. So what I've done is I've drawn around the back of the distributor to give us this shape. And I'm also going to fix these bolt holes as well, because they're really pissing me off. I thought that it was all nice and straight, but obviously not. Drawing a line there, that's going to be our finish line. We're going to round the corners off. Beautiful. There we go, one bracket made. Smoothed off all the welds and stuff. Even came around the top. Shaped it the exact same way as the distributor, or where it comes out the cam end. But I hope you agree, it's pretty cool. So for mounting the coil pack, I noticed at the top has 2 wee plastic tabs. So what I've done is pushed them in, and that actually releases. So then after that, I got a tap, not like a kitchen tap, like a tap for tapping holes, and tapped out the bottom of the coil pack on each hole. God, this camera's so hard to work. So yeah, I tapped out all the holes on that to accept an M8. So what I'm going to do is drill out the plate now, which is over here. So I'm going to drill out the plate, I've marked that, and then we're going to put in M8s from underneath. And then it'll look like it's mounted by magic. So the hole's drilled to 8.5mm and 30mm long bolts put in. That's actually looking not too bad. We shaped that to the shape of the distributor. Lovely. Right, let's get this mounted back up. Brackets bolted back on. Jeez, for a second there I thought it was the wrong way around. Put them in nice and slack to begin with, just to make sure they all go in. What size are they? Next one up. And there's loads of room underneath to actually get in to tighten these up. I'll probably just put a wee bit Loctite on the threads. just for vibration. But I'm sure you'll agree that is looking pretty cool. Let me know what you think. That's it from standing back at the engine. Sorry about the noise, the neighbours just fired up the jet wash. That's how it looks from above. Anyway, enough of the dream shots. Let's get the next bit of wiring done, which is on this plug here. Final wee update. The wiring is all run. Just got to tag up the cables. All the cables on the right hand side that you can see there, they're all going into the car, so there's no need to braid them just now. As you can see, we've got the coil pack on, checked it for height. That's beautiful. And what we're going to do now is we've butchered it together. The ECU is connected, so we're using Tuner Studio, and it's shown connected. We've calibrated the coolant temp, so it's roughly showing 70 degrees just now, which is probably what it is here. What we're going to do is turn it over and show you that it actually works. So I'm just going to zoom in on this spark plug here. Beautiful. So I'm going to get the rest of it tidied up now, and we'll be right back. Right, we're going to call it a wrap for today. Got a fair bit done, got all the wiring done that we need to, got that coil pack bracket made. We've got the engine mounted. There you can see we'll tidy up all the wiring as it comes through the back and cable tie it all together. And that's the cable to plug it into the laptop, which you've just seen. So yeah, we'll call it a wrap at that. Very happy with the progress. Hope you guys liked. If you did, please give a like, share and subscribe, and drop a comment if you'd like to see more of the fabrication work, etc. And the wiring, obviously. I never went too much into it because I just get lost in my own wee world. But if you would like to see more, drop a comment. Hopefully next time we can get the front panel on, get the radiator and stuff, all the hoses buttoned up, and hopefully starting the inlet manifold. Thanks again guys, catch you on the next one.